welcome to this edition of the Yosha Street with me, your host, Margaret Mukabin, as usual. So I would like us to look at today, we are going to discuss what we call electrical safety. Electrical safety is something very critical because all of us in our different workplaces, in our homes, we deal with electricity. It's something very dangerous, very, very important that we discuss this. What is the objective of this? Why are we even discussing this? Because we need to understand how to handle or to know electrical hazards in the workplaces and in our different places. We all use electricity. Sometimes you can be plugging in your phone for charging, you plug in your computer to do your work. You can be using electricity to do different kinds of work, let's say hot works, welding works, if you're using a grinder, using portable electrical tools also, and so on and so forth. If you're cooking, all those are electrical hazards that we do not see and we do not think about. And in case things go wrong, we always ask ourselves, had we known, had we done this? Okay, now it's very important when it comes to electrical safety. We consider some things that we need to look at when it comes to compliance. We are talking about this because we need you to be compliant. As an employer, you need to be compliant in line with electrical safety, in line with electrical regulatory authority. It's something very, very important. Now, let's look at the different hazards of electricity. We have electrocution. The greatest risk is burns, and then we have electric shock. We have also fires and explosions. All these ones come up. But then as an employer, the greatest risk is the burns, and so you've got to handle them accordingly. There are always indirect hazards, at the same time also direct hazards that we may not expound today. Now let's look at how best can we work with electricity. Always make sure you do not overload electrical sockets because it might start a fire. Always make sure you have managed your cables. Trailing cables are properly put in place and put properly in a tray and handled properly and banded together. Also, make sure you have avoided wet conditions, having the cables running through wet conditions. Inspect all the tools that you're using, the electrical tools that you're using, to make sure you do not have any electric tool leakages, any other issues that are moving around. Always make sure your sockets, your plugins are in good condition, that you do not have any electrical leakages, and then also you do not have any fires starting up. Always use the ground circuit interrupter, the ground fault circuit interrupter, what we normally call the GFCI, to handle any excess currents. Now also always make sure when you're doing any hot works, make sure you are away from the wet conditions. Competency is something very important when it comes to electrical safety. A competent person in electricity is someone who is able to identify the hazards and be able to put in place the control measures that are necessary. Not only knowing how to connect the power, how to do the connections and the installations, no, also knowing how to identify the hazards in relation to electricity and put in place the controls is what we call competency. Now, you should make sure your electrician that you're going to use to do your job as an employer, this electrician is competent, is certified, also licensed with ERA, Electricity Regulatory Authority. There are different classes that we expect from them, the class Ds, the class A, the X's, and so on and so forth. We may not really expound that. For more information about electrical safety, if you'd like us to train your people in line with electrical safety, reach out to us. We can always give you these trainings, the competent electrical safety trainings, and also the electrical safety awareness trainings. We can always give you all these trainings. Reach out to us. Well, from me, your host, Margaret Mukavin, see you next time. Stay safe.